What's good, bro? So, I've lost over 15 pounds in the last year and a half or so. But before that, I went through like this 4 year cycle, I'm not gonna lie, where I would try and make progress and I would just never stay consistent for more than a few days before going back to my old habits. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the one crucial step, what a voice crack there, that I finally did that actually got me out of this trap. And basically, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you what this amazing step is, and then I'm going to show you the 3 step process that I used at the end that genuinely made fat loss like 10 times easier. I'm not joking when I say that. And dude, nobody else is talking about this online. And so, just give me the next 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm going to make this video so worth it. So, if you failed before this, if you struggle with being fat, if you don't have basically any motivation to do the good habits, you don't have a problem with consistency. You don't have a problem with motivation. You have a mental health problem. And I don't mean this to call you like you're retarded or anything, but here's the thing. The reason that you have these addictions to things like junk food, to scrolling, to video games is literally just you have bad mental health. Because when you have bad mental health, it's basically just your baseline pleasure is really low. So, most of the brainless idiots online talking about fat loss are gonna tell you, oh, here's this tactic to lose the fat, here's this cool diet plan. But you don't need any of that. The thing that you're actually struggling with is these addictions. Because when you have bad mental health, these addictions are gonna come in to help you cope with the fact that you don't like where you are right now. Because, and here's the thing that most people don't get. Basically, mental health is just how fulfilled you feel in the moment. If I were to take you and just put you in on like a bed or something with no distractions, no iPad, nothing, the way you feel right there is simply your baseline mental health. It's basically how you feel right now. And every single time, for example, you eat some junk food or you play some video games, that baseline spikes up for a second because it feels really good. But as soon as the chips are over, it comes back down, but it doesn't just stay where it was. It goes even lower than where you started. And every single time, for example, over the past year you've eaten the junk food, your baseline has slowly gotten lower and lower to the point where now you're basically just semi-depressed and you need video games like 24/7 to even feel anything now. Like, if you can relate to this, when you started, for example, gaming or watching YouTube or eating junk food, basically the stuff that I went through, I started off by only using, like 30 minutes of gaming or maybe watching an hour of YouTube, but over time, because my baseline got lower, I needed more of the drug, more of the substance to get the same hit, right? And here's the thing about mental health. When you improve it, it genuinely becomes like 10 times easier to lose the fat. Because imagine every single time you told yourself you would do something like exercise, like eat clean, you actually did it. Imagine every single time you saw some junk food on the table, you resisted it because you knew it was bad, and your mental health is so good you don't even need it anyways. Imagine never being pulled around by your short-term desires. Imagine simply just being happy and not needing these things like junk food and video games that, let's be honest, aren't even that fun anymore. That is the power of having good mental health. And so I hope that by the time that you're watching this, you're not like 90% of the brainless idiots watching this who are now thinking, oh, my mental health is already good. Let me watch something else. Let's see. Here's a clickbait video, how to lose fat in 2 days. Let me watch that instead. You're probably not like them because you're watching a video with no edits on how to genuinely just make fat loss easy. So, here's a quick rant that I want to tell you, bro. If you're here right now, you need to know this. There is no shortcut. There is no quick pill that you can take to lose the fat. There is no diet plan that you can use to lose the fat in 2 days. Because if there was, I'm telling you this with full conviction, I would tell you. If there was some shortcut to losing the fat and to go from being this fat Genshin Impact player to losing this fat, I would tell you. but there isn't any. And the reason that the fat loss industry is like $500 billion or something is because there are people who want the shortcut. But it doesn't exist, bro. And the sooner that you accept this, the sooner you're going to make progress, because the only thing that is standing between where you are right now and where you want to be is a series of actions, of working out, of eating clean. And when you improve your mental health, it makes those actions easier. And so if I've convinced you that your mental health is the problem and that you're not like 90% of the brainless idiots on YouTube anyways, because you're watching a video like this, like I want you to pat your back for making it here without those cringy little edits that are going to keep you hooked, right? So, now that you've watched till here, I'm going to just give you the 3-step process that I used to improve my mental health and make fat loss easy. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you that I did was I had to stop living like I was AFK. So, let me just explain to you basically what my daily routine was during, let's say, the lockdown when I was this fat little Genshin Impact player. I'd wake up and it's like 11 p.m. and the first thing I'd do without even brushing my teeth with stinky breath is I'd sit down on my crusty little chair and log on to Genshin Impact or log on to Roblox or Minecraft, and I'd just start frying my mind with the pleasure that I told you about earlier for like hours. For like the first 4 hours of the day, that's all I would do. Then I'd watch some YouTube, then I'd eat some junk food, and by like 4 p.m., I found that I genuinely had like zero motivation to do any good habits. Because when you're frying your brain with so much pleasure at the start of the day, a good way to tell you this is it's almost like the first impression of the day. Imagine that some kid walked into your classroom and he had like a shit stain on his shirt. He has stinky breath. He probably doesn't even brush his teeth. He has like this really scruffy looking hair that probably tells you he hasn't even showered in like a week. Imagine looking at that kid and just like imagining that he just kind of beneath you. He just kind of a loser. Your mornings are like the first impression of the day, and when you fry your brain with this much pleasure, it's gonna expect this much pleasure in return throughout the entirety of the day. And when you imagine that, over the course of the last few years, you haven't really felt motivation. If you really think about it, the only thing that's enjoyable to you now is just gaming. But when you instead just don't stimulate yourself in the morning, what you'll find is that you will actually feel motivated to do the good habits that you know you need to do. So there is no easy way to do this, man. And I wish I could tell you some quick fix, but the reality is you're gonna have to disconnect. At least you're gonna have to stop frying your brain with so much like horrible cheap dopamine. And I don't mean you have to stop watching YouTube, because for example, a video like this is actually, if you really think about it, it's a good thing for you, because first of all, it's not that stimulating, and second of all, it's actually helping you improve your life. So the thing is, your YouTube addiction isn't actually the problem. Your content addiction isn't really the problem. It's just that it's the overstimulating horseshit, just BS content that's just there to fry your mind that is the problem. And I'm not gonna lie to you up front. It's not that fun. I'll tell you, after playing video games for like 12 hours a day, transitioning into this state where I'm not frying my brain constantly isn't easy. However, it is so worth it, because now I'm genuinely motivated to study. I'm motivated to literally speak on camera, have my voice dry up, feel uncomfortable on camera because I'm kind of like introverted. And I'm motivated to do it simply because I stopped stimulating my mind for like 30 hours a day. So, you might tell yourself, oh, this guy's a prick. I'm not going to do it because my YouTube Shorts is too important. My video games are too important. And I'll tell you right now, fine. You can have fun being fat. You can have fun being demotivated and prioritizing the short-term pleasure now. But if you're serious about this and you're watching till here, on a video like this, you aren't like 90% of the brain dead generation that we have. Because you know that this stuff genuinely isn't even fun anymore. Like, deep down, if you were to really think about it, have you even have fun watching YouTube for like 6 hours a day or playing video games for hours every single day? I don't think so. And so, I'm telling you right now, if you just follow this one step of just stop being AFK and just stimulate yourself less, then you will make so much more progress because you're going to be so much more motivated. Now, here's a second important thing that I did that helped me basically lose the fat like this. And here's the thing, nobody else talks about this, but it is, I started meditating. So you might have seen a bunch of cringe ass videos online telling you about like there's some random guru with like a 6 foot long beard underneath a palm tree going om for like 5 hours a day, but that's not actually what meditation is about. Hold on, I need some water real quick. So you can listen to the amazing water sounds that I'm about to make. Damn it, I just spilled it everywhere. My bad. Okay. As I was saying, meditating is so misunderstood because it's just been bastardized by the media. But basically, meditation is so overpowered because let me tell you what it basically is first. Meditation it's nothing crazy. You just sit there focusing on your breath until you get some thoughts. So let's say you were to sit there and you started breathing and just focusing on that. And after a few breaths, you would start thinking, like, oh, this stuff is dumb. Oh, why am I even doing this? It's not working. Those are your thoughts. But what you need to understand right now is that you aren't your thoughts, you're just the observer of them. If you really picture this right now, imagine that there's this fish bowl in front of you. This is some analogy I learned from this book, but imagine there's a fish bowl in front of you that has a bunch of fish swimming around in it. You, like your mind, you are the water. But your thoughts are just the fish swimming around in it, making ripples in the water. But you aren't the same thing. Your thoughts aren't actually like real. They aren't facts. In other words, when you have a thought, for example, to eat the junk food, you don't actually need to follow that thought. And this sounds kind of schizo. I don't mean this in like some schizo way, like to start, I don't know, but you get my point, right? You aren't your thoughts. And when you learn this, it becomes so much easier to lose fat because now you aren't a slave to your desires pulling you around. Instead, you're able to take control and realize, hey, I don't need to listen to my voice in my head that's telling me to not work out because it doesn't feel like it, because you can still do it regardless. If every single cell in your body is telling you to eat the junk food, you still don't have to do it. And when you meditate, it's like you give that water. It's like you give yourself more power over those thoughts that will in turn make it easier to lose the fat. So, I'll give you a quick brain dead 3-step cycle for meditation. To meditate, all you have to do right now is just sit down and just close your eyes and start breathing and focusing all of your sort of focus on the sensation of the breath going in and out of your nose. And now what you do is as soon as you find that you're having any thoughts, that's not a bad thing. Most people get frustrated because like they try and meditate and they aren't able to clear their mind like that, but that's okay. Because the point of meditation is simply to bring your mind back to your breath. So again, the cycle goes, you breathe, you get thoughts, and then you bring your mind back. It's almost like a bicep curl for your mind to bring itself back. And I promise you, if you start doing this every single day, it becomes so easy to lose the fat because now you're immune to your desires. So meditation is also basically just like the anti-overstimulation because instead of frying your dopamine, it actually brings it back a bit. So not only do you stop being addicted, but you also have more motivation. So you'd be retarded if you're not meditating. So all I want you to do is just start meditating just like 2 minutes a day. Don't try and do an hour a day like an idiot because you won't stay consistent. Just do it 2 minutes a day. And what I'd recommend you do is you create something called a habit tracker. And that's basically just where you take a piece of paper and you write down a bunch of squares and you tick off each day that you do the meditation for just 2 minutes a day. If you do that, you'll be consistent. And yeah, that's basically all there is for meditation. It's overpowered and you should start doing it. Now I'm going to talk about the third and most important thing that you need to know about mental health and fat loss as a whole, which is if you're struggling right now, it probably is also just the fact that you're setting the difficulty level too high for yourself. This isn't too much about mental health, but it's more about your ability to stay consistent, because consistency is like a skill in a video game. But if you're really honest to yourself, your consistency level is only like level 4. But when you set the level of let's say you try and work out for half an hour a day, if you're only at level 2, it's going to be really hard to do. It's like trying to beat the level 50 boss. So instead, what I want you to do is, instead of simply trying to lose 50 pounds in a day by working out for 10 hours a day and quitting all of your addictions today, I want you to have this mindset where you're not simply trying to snap your fingers and make the change happen, but you're just slowly either doing more of the good habits or reducing the bad habits. And what I mean by this is, instead of trying to, for example, quit your YouTube addiction forever, just slowly deload it by watching more content just like this. Instead of trying to work out for 10 hours a day, or those people who try and wake up at 6 a.m. and do push-ups, don't try and do that. Just work out for 5 minutes a day and call it a day. In fact, this is such an important part of the video that I have a second video that I'm going to link in the description, where I basically just show you how to create your own quest tracker that basically makes it easy as hell to stay consistent. And so your action step for this video is just to go watch that video and create your own quest tracker now so you can stay consistent. And that is honestly that's pretty much the entire video. And if I promise you right now, if you take the action steps and you do the things that I told you and you improve your mental health, it becomes so easy to lose the fat. So go down and subscribe if you like this video. If you want more value just like this, go down and subscribe. And as always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.